It's the Underpowered Hour. On this week's show, we're joined by Mr. Land Rover himself, Michael Bishop, to talk about all things Land Rover classics, Pebble Beach, and everything in between. And now, here's the show. Welcome to the Underpowered Hour. I'm Steve Beres, mild-mannered television executive by day and Land Rover collector by night. You can find out more about our cars and what we're working on at theberescollection.com or follow us on Instagram at theberescollection. I'm joined, as always, by my good friend, Goss.
Thank you to everyone joining us today.
I'm the side valve engine to Steven's mild hybrid. I'm the F-head of podcasting, Goss.
I own and operate Pangle and 4x4 in Springfield, Oregon, where we live and breathe Land Rovers. Check us out online on Facebook, Instagram at Pangle and 4x4. Let's get started.
All right, Ike, and special guest, Mr. Land Rover himself, Michael Bishop. Mr. Land Rover the second, maybe, because we do always get a comment where, of course, we're very well aware that Roger Craythorne is Mr. Land Rover, but Mike has very well taken up that mantle as Roger has well-deserved retired to a beautiful island and is enjoying that, or rather Portugal, not an island, I guess, but he's retired, and rightfully so after decades and decades of Land Rovering, and Mike has taken up that mantle. So welcome, Mr. Bishop. It's nice to have you, and actually have you here in the Nick Dimbleby Memorial hot seat, but it's not so hot right now. It's nice and cool this morning, so you're fine. And of course, being Australian, you're also much more tolerant of the heat. So welcome.
Thank you very much, and thank you for the kind words. And there was a Mr. Land Rover before Roger. It was a chap called Alec Joyce.
So you're really Mr. Land Rover the third.
Yeah, I'd say so. Yeah, I mean there are other, obviously other people who like to try and hold the title, but from a classic point of view, that's me.
That's right. That's right. And from our point of view, in our hearts and minds, that's...
Thank you.
Yeah, from an enthusiast's standpoint, indeed. So, well, it's great to have you here. You've been here with us for a few days and heading up to Ike and the gang in a couple of days as well. So it's going to be a West Coast American Land Rover action-packed weeks for you here. So what better way to experience all that American Land Rovering has to offer than hanging out with Ike and I? That's really a great way to spend your time. Yeah, right.
Well, you got to start with the bottom of the barrel.
Sort of work your way up from there. Yeah, exactly.
You have some context.
True. Yeah. Good to start at the bottom before you just, immediately go to Bill Cooper's place or something. And, you can't. If you start there, it's all downhill from there.
Select first, low range.
Yeah, that's exactly right. That's exactly right. If you start with Bob Steele, our hospitality just is non-existent. Better to start here. Set your expectations as low as humanly possible, and then so
tell we know that you haven't come to the U.S. to visit us specifically. So tell us a little bit about your visit.
So my visit is really a family, visit. It's school holidays. So my son and my wife are over here as well, and we've come to do the full Hollywood thing here. We've been to Warner Brothers, we've been to Universal, we're going to Disney, all of those things, which an 11-year-old boy my son is absolutely ecstatic about. He's into all that usual kid stuff. So, and I never got to see any of that as a kid. So that's kind of always fun to turn into a kid with him and do it all. So that's brilliant. We'll sort of see a few friends and do a little tiny bit of pre-Pebble event, work, which I suppose is the other thing I've been doing.
And it's nice. He has a built-in best friend with Cooper. They've been hanging out nonstop here for 4 straight days, and it's been nonstop Lego building. And I think Cooper has learned more about trains in the last 4 days than the previous 10 years of her life. So it's been great. She's definitely now on me to build a model train railway. So
clear out all the Land Rovers and just fill that whole
start building the model railway. She's very
diorama.
What I can't believe, Steve, you already had been to the shop. You'd been to the train shack, in LA.
Yes, I had been there once previously to not get something train related, but now Cooper had never been there. Now she has been, and Now we're gonna have to buy
Now
it.
you're lifetime members.
Yeah, and
The odd cards and all of that. Yeah.
Oh yeah, man. Oh boy. Yeah, we're in it now. We're in it now. So thank you for that,
Well,
Michael. That's,
fortunately for you, my understanding is the model railroad enthusiast movement has declined to the point where getting a diorama, getting a train set is very reasonable, very, very cost effective.
I believe I have no point of reference, but the things seem pretty expensive. I mean, I don't know.
If it's up from scratch, yeah.
Some guy came by and tried to sell me his whole garage full of a diorama for like $300, and it was nice.
I like that
It was
some guy
he spent thousands of hours
sought
building it
you
all.
out though. That seems about right. Like this guy would want this thing.
This guy looks like a sucker.
Yeah, this guy. He would be into this. He would be into this.
Yeah. I know a guy whose entire house is filled with tiny model trains. All up and down the walls of his house. He has little shelves.
Well,
trains.
I know a pair of folks that are coming up to see you that would be interested in visiting that. They're Rikers. So
I'll see what I can do.
See what you can do.
See what I can do.
Yeah, clear
They're
that
cool.
whole place.
They're cool. Some of them are really, really impressive.
Well,
There you go. Put that visit on the list, Mike. That sounds right up your
We'll
alley.
drop Sam off there and we'll pick him up later on. He'll be there still talking at the guy about trains for 2 days and a half days later.
Did I hear there's going to be Land Rovers at Pebble Beach? Is that
Land
what I
Rover's at
heard?
Pebble Beach. Yes, you must have read the press release. Yeah,
Groundkeepers
Yeah.
vehicles. Yeah,
so there's going to be some
official
royal
mulching.
vehicles.
So for those listeners who haven't read the press release, tell us what you can about Land Rover's presence there.
So last year we did royal vehicles at Goodwood Revival, and that was in relation to the day fell exactly a year to Her Majesty's passing. So we felt it was a really, really nice thing to celebrate her legacy and life and her work with some of her Land Rovers. And there was ceremonial vehicles, and there was some other vehicles with one with her father had been associated with, and others. Some were still in current use. And we took them for a parade lap around the track there and had them parked up in a nice display, and people could look at them, look inside them, get very close to them. And on the back of that, obviously our American colleagues saw that and thought that'd be a really cool thing to, consider taking to Pebble. So earlier in the year, we had a chat about it, and we came up with an idea for a set of vehicles. And basically it's split into two categories. There's ceremonial vehicles, which obviously, span decades, starting with the 1954 model year, 86-inch ceremonial car, which she started using, a 53 built car, a very early built car for that. And then her coronation was in 53. And as it moved on, there's various other vehicles. So, the vehicles are almost like prime ministers or presidents. People measure the Queen by her success and her longevity by being a credible work of service to communities through that. But then you can tell that story through all those, dignitaries, but also through all these Land Rovers. So there was that. And then there was a set of lifestyle vehicles we'd like to take along. I mean, not that they really had lifestyle vehicles, just vehicles that she'd and the family had used over many, many years. And most of them are in museums or kept by us or whatever. So that's the idea.
Maybe you know the answer to this. What is the oldest vehicle that's currently in service with the royal family?
I think it's we took this gun bus to Goodwood, which is still in service, and that was about an 80s. I think it was an 88 127 that had been turned into this, incredible sort of shuttle vehicle to take around, around Balmoral.
So that's like a shooting brake, a gun bus, like it would take.
That's what it was called. I don't think it was necessarily always, used for that. It was just a very practical vehicle.
Right.
It had seats facing front and back, so you could get into it with your guests, and you could have a chat, with them, and say, over here's and you could have a proper conversation within the vehicle. I mean, that's what the vehicle was called. It was called this gun bus, but there wasn't anything terribly practical, sort of putting all your luggage or kit or rifles or anything anywhere. So it was just.
I see.
It was just effectively a bus, a little bit in the sort of vein of the 147s at Solihull.
Okay.
Sure.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Right.
Yeah,
Sure.
Sort of very similar to that, except the seats, one set of seats faced backwards and one set of seats faced forward. So you had this nice communal area where you could sit and chat.
Like a limousine sort of situation. Yeah. Oh, interesting. Yeah. On the 147, and you may know this if anybody's going to know this, I saw something where someone took one on an expedition. Did they ever let one out of Solihull? I thought they were only at the factory, like they were only a factory tour bus.
No, my boy. So they're originally a South African model, and a handful of vehicles were made in South Africa. I was told it was 6 once by the engineer who turned up to Solihull years ago for a visit, which would make it 9, but yeah, it could be a few more. You've got to take some of
Right.
that with a little bit of pinch of salt.
Yeah, sure.
I bet you there was a development vehicle and this and that, and the next thing to add to those 6 or 9.
It's like a lot of the game viewers are kind of built on that wheelbase, you know?
Right.
So it's like, because it's the effectively the length of an extra door is the addition of the wheelbase. So my understanding is that, like, in South Africa, they got all these, game preserves and up into, Zimbabwe and Namibia, Kenya, etc. And so the idea was to build this platform that could be used for those.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, that's basically it.
I thought it was just really only just like a specialty factory thing, but I didn't realize they were ever really out in the wild.
No. I've seen photos in South Africa. I've seen one personally in Iceland with big balloon Icelandic tires on it.
Oh, okay. Yeah, sure. Okay.
But I didn't have time to sort of grab the chassis number and see, what it was, where it was, where the South African built car.
Huh.
There you go.
There's another Defender variant that's kind of in that same vein that I've seen photos of, but don't know much about. It was used at like a Disney theme park, and it was like a very long, also very wide sort of Defender vehicle, and it was in some sort of safari
Busch Gardens
park. Was it Busch Gardens?
Defenders,
yeah. And those are, I don't even know if those are on an actual Land Rover platform. It's so big.
Land Rover. They are a Land Rover platform. Believe it or not, I have seen the Busch Gardens workshop manual.
The Busch Gardens workshop
I have seen it at work. I have the Busch Gardens Defender workshop manual. Yeah.
Interesting.
Are those like a Parenti variant or something? Are they 6 wheels? I can't remember exactly.
They're 4, and I think they're 130 TD5. And the back body's built up and quite high. I think it's four people across, 4 seats across, with a little aisle in the middle, I think. Okay. And they went around this ride at Busch Gardens, and it was sort of like a safari themed adventure.
Interesting.
That's what it was. Yeah. I'm just looking at a photo of them now. They're kind of like a red and yellow color. The Rhino Rally Expedition at Busch Gardens. Apparently they don't operate this experience anymore. So I wonder what happened to those Defenders.
Hey, there you go. If you are the proud owner of a Busch Gardens Land Rover, then please reach out to the show and let us know.
The Busch Gardens Workshop Manual. That's a rare piece of Land Rover ephemera.
Yeah, that's interesting. Wow, there you go.
So for our listeners that aren't familiar with your work at Land Rover and, why you're, involved in the classic Land Rover part of the Pebble Beach experience that's coming to California, tell us a little bit about your work with Land Rover.
So I've been working directly with Land Rover since 2010. I started off doing some stuff for social media, company, suppliers, and then Land Rover Experience from 2011 to 2016. And then the start of 2016, I joined Classic on the back of that end of Defender event, which I was heavily involved with. And then we started doing Series 1 reborns and Works V8s and all of that. So I suppose the best way to sort of, put a umbrella over the top of that, it's easy to say Mr. Land Rover, but I'm the Land Rover specialist from different points of view, be it a media or a customer or, authenticity. They're probably the main ones, that, they sort of cover most bases, there. So, I'm always doing this, that, or the next thing, be it helping people choose a vehicle to match their story if they're coming into Classic to buy one, or restoring a vehicle, making sure that, the authenticity is right, especially if it's a slightly complicated, vehicle where there's maybe a development vehicle and the spec of the vehicle that we're trying to set isn't quite clear. And then just, this kind of stuff and, talking to people, sharing the stories, sharing the fun,
And Classic Works maintains a collection, maybe a library, if you will, of various older Land Rover models. And they also seem to do, builds of classic vehicles. Do they do restoration work for customers or in-house, work for vehicles that are upcoming for sale? Tell us a little bit about what goes on.
I suppose it's split into 3 veins, really. There is a 4th one, which is experiences, but I won't touch on that one so much because they're they're quite sporadic. So we have vehicles in the showroom which are for sale, which are called Works Legends, and they can be vehicles that have come for sale from inside the company, like sort of older Defenders that turn up from time to time. We just had one turn up, which is 12,000 miles from you, because obviously being a car company, you've got a lot of spare cars around you, often not cars for different users. But so those, we get vehicles in which have been restored by other people, which we consider to a standard which we like, and can see that the job's been done extremely well. And then also low mileage vehicles, anything we find which is particularly low mileage or very original, they can fall into the Work Legends categories. We've got a very lovely 1992 Range Rover at the moment, Vogue, beautiful, every receipt, amazing thing. And that's what it is, a perfect example of a Works Legend. Alongside that is the program vehicles, which the Isla V8 has just finished, right? Just finishing. So we're finishing the process.
Yeah, and you had, like, that's an edition car, right? So there's only a certain number of them. And are there still any of those left, or like they're all sold 30, out, or there's still some of it? All 30. Yeah, there wasn't very many made.
I think they're all gone. There might be one right-hand drive 90 left, but that was sort of that was teetering on the. It's gone as I went on this holiday. So it might be, If you hear this, always ask, because one of the things with those vehicles is they can come back to us as Works Legends. So if anybody suddenly wins the lottery and says they want to buy one, or sells the spare house, or retires and says, I definitely have to have one of them, always ask, because you never know what will be one available. And the Isla's one of 30. Before that was the Trophy 2. Then there was the Trophy 1, which was the Sand Glow style colour in HD yellow. Yeah. And then before that was the 70th edition V8, which we did 150 vehicles of. But they're all super special, all based around a V8 product that was never launched in Defender build. And they're pretty rapid. 0 to 60 miles an hour.
Now, was that a Defender that they had planned on making, but then they decided no more Defenders, or was that something that was sort of re-engineered by Classics to be a vehicle that was sort of meant to supersede the end of the Defender?
So there was at the end this idea that they were going to do a V8 limited edition, and I mean the idea was at one point. I mean, you'll probably get colleagues who disagree. This is the thing when you get into unlaunched products.
The
way I had it is the last 200 vehicles were going to be this V8 edition with a 6-speed rather than the 8-speed, and it's going to be the autobiography trim and slightly leery, massive exhausts on the back. And we've got one of them at work. It's called the M. They call it the M Sport Defender. It's a prototype, and that was the idea. But Defender, that last year was so successful. The line was completely maxed out. And so it got to this point where, the vehicle passed through a lot of its homologation gateways and got to a point where, you have this, do we really have to do this kind of question? Right. And the decision was made at the time.
Necessary,
no, we don't. It's had the success, it's had the glory, it's had all of that. Right. We don't really need to do that.
To do it,
and it's out of way. So obviously that brought in a great opportunity to do something special with the platform, moving forwards as a, people call them resto mods, don't they? But it is based on an OEM vehicle, an unlaunched OEM car, the Works V8. So you do get there's a lot of an incredible amount of development work put into it in comparison to other people who have done a great job of what they have to put different drivetrain in. But they don't have the access to all that development software and everything. So
right. No, absolutely, it's not an LS1 swapped Defender. It's slightly more refined than that. Having seen it up close, I've actually never had an opportunity to drive one. I've got to do that at some point. But having certainly seen them and sort of witnessed the level of fit and finish, it is something obviously quite a bit more refined than just someone's. And we've seen people do really fabulous LS1 swaps and things, but it's not a Jaguar Land Rover motor, and it's not a Jaguar Land Rover drivetrain and everything. So it is something quite neat to have, a fully Jaguar Land Rover swapped car that's done by the factory, and even the transmission tunnel and stuff all looks sort of as it should, and it's really cool. They do a really, really nice job of putting those cars together. They're really cool.
So in addition to these special edition vehicles that Classic Works puts together. Do you do restoration work for clients that have special cars?
Yes, we do. We do. We're just finishing off the last of the Land Rover original Land Rover Reborns. We just finished off. There's a nice little photo of the 5280, which a gentleman's been wanting for a long time, but obviously the pandemic sort of mucked up the build of that a bit. So now we're just finishing off the last handful of those, and then we do other vehicles. We've done a few Range Rovers as bespokes. We've done a disproportionate number of Series 3s as bespokes, which is unusual because Series 3s are obviously not normally in that sort of price bracket of a full bespoke, sort of £100,000 plus restoration for anybody. But the people who've come to us have had various reasons and desires and loves of Series 3s and all these kind of things. And it's got to a point where it's like, why not? Okay, if you want to restore it like that and you love the truck, let's crack on and do it.
Yeah. I mean, if you have special memories or just a real association or affinity for that model, well, doesn't matter, right?
At all.
I'm going to send my stage 1 over there. Get you guys.
Doesn't matter at all.
You just send it.
Freelander.
Send the Freelander.
I'm
going to send the Freelander, and they'll just send it straight back. And it's just rejected.
Well, there's two. I think the last thing we do is servicing, and we just had a 28,000 mile from new Suffix F. But it's a Suffix F Range Rover turn up out of the blue. Just comes in perfect. Yeah.
Nice.
Lovely.
And of course, all the Jaguars as well, like that crazy race car Jaguar. I can't remember what they're called, but the insane, hand built V10 range, whatever that
was. It the Le Mans car?
Yeah, whatever that thing is. That.
The XJ9,
that crazy triangle-shaped race car. Yeah, the XJ9.
Yeah. There's all, obviously there's all of the Jags as well. There's mounds of Jags, and if you get into, I didn't know, until I joined JLR, I didn't really know terribly much about Jaguar. But once you drive an E-Type and how well they drive for an old car, you're like, okay, yeah, I got it. They're pretty cool.
Yeah.
There's all that going on, and then there's a collection. So in the collection, and the most recent vehicle to the collection is a Freelander.
There you go. See, proof positive.
Yeah.
The undisputed king of Land Rovers.
Steven's going to have the most valuable Land Rover in North America in this G4 Freelander.
Exactly right.
Restoring.
It's just a matter of time. See, I'm playing the long game, Mike. That's playing the long game.
I'm going to be long dead.
Phil Bashel and I, we'll be proven right eventually.
Right.
Eventually.
Now, the one thing I can't forget to mention is classic parts. And that's sort of like a subset to us, because I don't really have, apart from people ringing up and saying, can you get this part or put me in touch with the parts anymore? Yeah. That I don't have terribly much to do with the everyday sales or, or running of it.
Parts team,
I talk to the guys all the time about it, but, obviously that's done mostly as an online business or, order the part through your Land Rover retailer kind of scheme. But one of the reasons for getting the Freelander in is because the parts are obviously getting to an age where, especially all the trim bits that people want,
they're literally impossible to find.
So we've got a Freelander, which is an original launch car for the facelift, the uplift vehicle.
Yeah.
And we're looking at that, and we're looking at the various bits and pieces of trim, because a lot of people are looking for those, and it presents a great opportunity for Land Rover classic parts.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, let me know, because I basically need all of it. It's all shit. So you need it all. But in all non-seriousness, it is like people have really found an interest. Certainly Nick Dimbleby has found an interest in that car. He's going to get one. It's only a matter of time.
What I loved joking you this weekend is the Freelander that got away, Steve.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah. It's true. Yeah. Mike and I were talking about this weekend. So Liza and I were in Calgary. I think it was last Christmas. And I swear to God, we saw a genuine G4 competition vehicle. It was the only way we could have gotten that, we could have had that spec of equipment. And it literally got away. Liza and I were chasing it. We tried to chase the guy down to get his information, and it literally outran us. It got through a series of stoplights in which that we couldn't catch up to it. So it literally got away.
We have to do a recreation of this event, this Freelander chase.
I thought it was only a matter of time before it broke down, that we would just
Did it get through a train crossing and then the train and then you got out and you
I was waving my fist at it. Yeah, no, it did. It got, I don't know, it managed to evade us, because I would have chased it down and for any price. I would have bought it, but got away.
So usually if you're looking for vehicles like this, and this used to happen to me when I in Melbourne, you should go back to the intersection or wherever the vehicle was seen and try and wait for it to pass through, because most people are just on their everyday commute, aren't they?
Yeah.
Yeah. So this is what we need to set up an underpowered hour task force to somehow find and photograph this vehicle.
That's right.
The Freelander stakeout.
Yeah. If you're in Calgary and you know of this orange Freelander, let us know, because we're interested.
Steven's going to be sitting in the back of a nondescript van with some headphones on, and some
binoculars,
video cameras,
and
just waiting for this Freelander to
come by, because I have to know. I have to know its story. I'm interested in purchasing it. I'll be there over the Christmas holiday again this year, and if they want to meet up, hey, I have Tiny Ike stickers, and I'll even make them a Linus 3D printed bust on trade.
That has gotten a lot of feedback at the shop. I won't.
I sent one up.
Really discuss what kind of feedback. But
where is it, by the way?
It's got a lot of attention. It's in a place of honor. It's right as you walk in through the door. It's right there. It's right there in front of you.
Yeah. I sent you guys an unfinished one, as I thought maybe you would like to give a go on, finishing it.
Oh, like painting it?
Yeah, or something. I don't know.
Target practice.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Brutal.
Painting.
Yeah. As I was telling Mike, I'm going to make the overdrive lever in the yellow wagon. I'm going to make that a little Linus head. I feel like that's appropriate.
So back to Classic. There's a rumor mill. Classic might be expanding. Can you comment on that?
We've got the two centres, haven't we? We've got the centre in Coventry, just south of Coventry at Brighton.
Yep.
And we've got a centre in Germany at Essen. And obviously the parts side of the business is really the one which has the most international scope, I suppose. So
right.
And that runs
everybody needs parts.
Yeah,
for
and that
Classic
runs
Land
through
Rover,
I think, but it runs through obviously the normal parts network. So we don't really need to do terribly much there. So the question has always been, would you want another centre? And if you were to set up another centre, where would you set it up? And that's, I think people are been having that discussion since before Classic was set up.
Right.
And how you'd go about
Springfield, Oregon, I think.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. There's a dude in Springfield, Oregon, would you is he okay? Would you set up
a wholly owned subsidiary of Land Rover Classics, yeah.
No one wants me.
Yeah, that's right.
Now there was a planned center pre-pandemic for Georgia.
Right?
Yeah, and that didn't happen in the end, which hard to say when you look back at these. A little bit like looking back at that V8 Defender that went down the production line. Was that the right decision or wrong decision? And I don't think as time has sort of trailed along enough to say rightly or wrongly. But the one thing is, North America is a great place for Land Rovers. So best thing we can do is start to put some presence in events, and what better event than to start with Pebble Beach, the best car show.
Yep.
Yeah, classic car show in the world. And
that's
take
right.
some vehicles that are not normally shown and to the public and have never been shown outside of the UK. And the Royal set, from 54, and we're stopping at L322 we are on that, have never been sort of publicly displayed before as a set of vehicles. So
that's very cool.
Doing events, is something we can easily do rather than building buildings or doing this or doing that. We can make a great presence.
Of course, Destination Defender coming up towards the end of this year again, which is always something to look forward to. Everybody here in the U.S. That's a special thing that Land Rover North America does that isn't really something that people get in the rest of the world, which is super neat. That Joe Eberhardt and the team here kind of put together. That's uniquely Land Rover North America, which is pretty cool. And Ike and I are working on our slacklining so that this year I think we're gonna put up some big numbers this year.
And it's slacklined like from Italy to Sardinia or something like that.
Oh, really?
It's crazy.
Oh my God.
Crazy, like a kilometer plus slackline.
Oh my God.
Situation.
Did he die?
Yeah, world record. No.
Oh, no, he did it? That's a long slackline.
Yeah, it was like across some peninsula or channel or something. It's wild.
Oh my God. Yeah, no, we couldn't even do it between two trees, like 6 inches off the ground.
Destination Defender.
He's coming to Destination Defender. He's on his way right now. They've run a slackline between where he is and Destination Defender. He's currently on his way. He'll be here just in time for the November event. But no, I mean, I think it's super cool. I think this thing at Pebble Beach is going to be absolutely fantastic. I think it's really neat that the Pebble Beach people are recognizing these vehicles as actual classic collectible cars that need to be recognized alongside of all of these hoity-toity old, fancy cars. What is, more elitist than, the Queen's personal Land Rover collection? I mean, that's pretty cool. I think that there's something really special about that.
And Michael and I were talking just before the show that this is Land Rover's return to Pebble Beach after a long absence.
That's right.
Land Rover was trying to bump up their U.S. presence in the early 60s. In 1960, they sponsored the Olympics.
Yeah.
And then in 1961, they had an entrance to Pebble Beach, which was kind of, this premier fancy car show. And talk to us a little bit about that vehicle that they brought all those years ago.
Yeah, so I came across this vehicle first in Rover News, which is a company newspaper back in the 1960s, which I've got scans of. And they did this vehicle, Series 2 88, which is sort of in style of what the autobiography Defender was in 2015. And then it's a duotone or two-tone paintwork vehicle, quite luxurious and, premium product looking in style. I mean, there's only a black and white photo of it, but there's this, this sort of advert which you'd shown us before, of this, very prestigious looking vehicle, and there's outside this sort of Italianate sort of scene set rather than the normal sort of old Land Rover advert with some hay bales or some sheep or, a farmer, so a complete change in presence and positioning there. And that's what they did. That's what they did. I mean, when the Rover Motor Company of North America came along and replaced Roots, they, wanted to position the vehicles, be it the Land Rovers or the Rover cars, right? Where they were, because Rover is one of Britain's fine cars, and so why not be a Pebble
There's
Beach?
a sheep in the advert, but the sheep is wearing pants, so it's very, very
I didn't
fancy.
notice that.
Yeah.
Didn't notice that bit either. Now, the vehicle, I can't decide if it's a little bit tongue-in-cheek, we have this utility vehicle, but it also is comfortable sort of thing, because some of the, accoutrements of this vehicle, the way it's set up or presented, harken back to a much earlier period of fancy luxury cars. So one example is that the exterior treatment is actually wicker. So it has wicker work that's along the side of the body. And so it kind of has this wicker lattice work on the lower portion of I want to say the door and the rear body, sort of like a early 20s car would have. And then on the bulkhead, where the side lights would be on an 80-inch, it has these carriage, almost like a carriage lamp, that you would see on a horseless carriage. And then it has flower vases, and it has a mink blanket on the front seat. And it's, I think originally, I didn't know this because I've only seen black and white photos of it, but I actually talked to someone the other day who had seen it at Pebble Beach in 1961. It was originally maroon in color.
Maroon. Oh, interesting.
Maroon.
And
color.
what was the other
wondering
tone?
if that was, I was wondering if that they had used, and one thing I don't know about this vehicle, whether it was built or produced by Land Rover North America or whether it had some input from, the UK. That I don't know either, but it appears to be a left-hand drive, US spec. It has white wall tires, which is another kind of interesting about it. Yeah, it's fascinating, and I don't know whether it's just a marketing exercise or what. I haven't seen the vehicle or any mention of it since these advertisements were made, so I don't know. Maybe it's still out there. Maybe somebody else, a listener, perhaps knows more about the history or what happened to that car. I'm told it was later painted black, and they brought it back to Pebble Beach in 1964. So whether that's true or not, I don't know, because we only have the black and white pictures, unless you've seen a color photo of it, Michael.
I've never seen a color photo of it. The only mention I've seen of it is in that magazine. There must be magazines, from the time, that mention the vehicle.
Sure. Photo of it.
A photo of it or whatever. But yeah, it's one. Obviously that in that period pre-Range Rover, one of the the product cycles was to push the Series 2 upmarket a little bit in certain guises. As you travel through Series 2 and 2A, they get slightly better, don't they? the wipers become slightly more modern, and this happens, and that happens, with seating and bits and pieces, adjustments, and yeah.
We may have had a technical issue here. I no longer see
I thought you had a
Steven
switch, didn't you? You have
in
a
the
switch
room
where you've
here.
had I've had enough of him and just switch him off.
If I had a switch to turn him off, that would be glorious.
Yeah. What kind of switch would you have there? Would you have like an 80-inch dash pull switch?
No, it'd just be a big
Would
red
be
button.
a big red button. Wouldn't be some sort of winch switch where you just push the winch switch and the winch comes on and off and a big solenoid goes bonk in the background.
So we got a little distracted there, Stephen, by your exit and then re-entry.
Sorry,
So,
my browser crashed. So sorry.
are we ready for a lightning round?
Yeah, would you like to engage in maybe a classics edition lightning round?
Yeah, we have to put to the test Michael's Land Rover bona fides with the lightning round.
That's exactly
So-
right. That's
so I'm
exactly
not sure
right.
if did you do a lightning round last
did
time?
do.
you were
Michael
here,
has
Mike?
done a
lightning
lightning round
round
before, but I
all
think
right.
I think a classics specific lightning round for Mr. Land Rover himself, Mr. Land Rover III, is definitely in order. Wow, I'll leave it to you.
Okay, well,
leave it to you.
We're gonna have to revise the content a little bit.
Yeah, I feel like if anybody could come up with a classics specific lightning round on the fly, it's you. Just going through and quickly Parkerizing the lightning round to closely resemble a Sheridized lightning round.
All right, Michael, are you ready for the lightning round?
I think so.
All right. Short answers to short questions. All right, we're gonna get started. You ready? Siamese or spread bore?
Ooh, that's a good one. I'm an 80.
He's stumped on the
I'm an
first
80-inch
question.
man, so I think I'll go Siamese. Yeah.
Siamese
Yeah.
bore. Oof.
Mm.
We'll have to put that one to the judges. Tygon or checked vinyl?
Ooh.
Ooh. I kind of like a check vinyl. I do. Yeah.
Checked
yeah.
vinyl is very,
Yeah,
very
yeah.
pleasing. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Station wagon or soft top?
Soft top. I'm more of a soft top man. I am. Yeah. It's,
Yeah.
Soft top.
Yeah.
I
Mhm. Fair
agree
enough.
with that. I think that's the right answer.
Yeah.
Walterizing
Oh.
or Sheridizing?
Sheridizing, because I love the story behind Mr. Sherrod Cooper Coles.
And
Yes.
his wife.
Yeah.
And his wife, by the way. Yeah, she is an appreciated
Definitely.
person in coatings
Yep.
history.
The Madame Curie of coatings.
All right. Diesel or petrol?
Oh.
Well, that's a good one. That's a good one. It's a bit like your, Siamese or I like
It
both
is,
of them.
yeah.
I do in context. But I do love a good 2-litre petrol Series 1 engine, be it Siamese or.
What about 2-liter diesel? 2-liter diesel or 2-liter
I think
petrol?
I'm definitely on the 2-litre petrol. Yeah. Siamese or spread bore. Yeah.
All right. And the best way to get gear oil out of your underwear?
Spray them with WD-40 and set them on fire.
Oh, there you go. Yep.
Burn them.
Burn them.
Burn them.
Burn them. Another one for
Yeah.
Burnham. We need to
All
keep
right.
track of those. Yeah, that's a
6
very
out of
popular
6.
one.
Perfect
Yeah, 6 out of 6.
score.
There's a
Perfect
perfect
score.
score. And we would expect no less from the one and only Mr. Land Rover III. Michael Bishop, thank you, sir, for joining us this afternoon. We are going to go and do some Land Rovering here this afternoon, and then you're headed up north to Her Majesty's Pangolin 4x4 to do yet some more Land Rovering later on in the week. And again, if you haven't headed on over, and we say this every episode, but to our YouTube, man, we are getting dangerously close to 1,000 subscribers. And when we get there, we'll find out what happens when we get to 1,000 subscribers.
Steven's going to retire.
yeah, I'm
So
gonna
if you'd
retire.
like
That's
to
it.
see Steven retire,
That's it.
please subscribe.
Go ahead, get your mom, get your significant other, get your pets, whatever, to subscribe to the Underpowered Hour on the YouTube, and we will appreciate it. That's helps us out, helps us get the show made, and look forward to some additional stuff up there. If you haven't seen Bob Steele and Bruce Fowler driving our good friend John Kosich around in the Cow, one of the world's most famous 80-inch Land Rovers, around an RTB course, as Jeff Aronson screams at them, you haven't lived until you've watched that. So I suggest everyone goes and checks that out. That's up on the YouTube now. And we've got a split screen with us shooting it from the outside and John terrifyingly shooting it from the back of the Cow as he's nearly ejected from the vehicle several times. So it's pretty good. Pretty good stuff. with that, we'll let you go, and we're going to go out. We're going to pull out some Land Rovers and go do some Land Rovering before it gets to be the temperature of the sun down here. And then we'll ship Mr. Bishop. We'll crate him up and ship him up to you, Ike, for some additional Land Rovering later this week.
Looking forward to it. All right. See you guys soon.
The Underpowered Hour is produced by Liza Beres, Ike Goss, and me, Steve Beres. Pavel Svardov composed and performed our theme music. Consider supporting the show on Patreon, and if you already do, thank you. Your support makes the show possible. For even more, check out our Instagram or Facebook.